to the MarcWes Sports Podcast.
This is the MarcWes Sports Podcast, where we give you that real sports talk from a Dade County, Broward County, Palm Beach County perspective. It's South Florida all day over here. So, Wes, it's been a crazy weekend in sports as usual. Even though it's like a downtime, it's probably the most downtime in sports because no hockey, no NBA is winding down, no football yet. And but before we even get into all the sports topics, let's talk about something that we should have talked about the last time with Haiti, man. Like Haiti, unfortunately, had their president assassinated, which was kind of crazy deal. A bunch of guys from some from America, some from, I heard, Colombia, Dominican Republic, came and ran up in his house and shot and killed the president of Haiti, and also shot his wife as well. As far as I understand, she survived. So, just when you heard the news, Wes, just kind of tell me what you thought, and what your thoughts are about this whole situation with Haiti getting their president assassinated.
When I heard that, I had my mom blowing up my phone. I had a few people blowing up my phone. Did you see what's on the news? I'm like, what? You feel me? And they was telling me Haiti president just got shot and killed overnight in Haiti. And I was like, what? You got presidents getting assassinated at this day and time right now? Like, that doesn't even make any sense for me. I kind of was like, because I seen a documentary like probably a few days prior, just basically like, going on seeing what's good with Haiti. Because, my parents normally go to Haiti and they stay there for like a month. They got like 3-4 houses in Haiti. And, out of all the years, they chose not to go the last maybe 2 years. And they normally go like, twice or 3 times a year. And they normally stay for like a month. So for them telling me like, I don't want to go to Haiti, I asked my mom, because me, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Our parents probably knew a little bit more of what's really going on in Haiti than us, because we're Americanized. You feel me? We're Zoes, but we're Americanized. So when my parents said it's crazy in Haiti and this, that, and the other, I did my research, and it was crazy that it happened, but it didn't shock me that it happened, because from what I get from the situation was he basically he wound up being president, and he didn't have the popularity of the actual island behind him. It's basically like he was appointed by the United States, which is another topic that kind of we need to jump on, because my whole thing is, if you're your own country, like who are you, United States, to be appointing presidents, and they're their own, island, they're on their own state.
Wait. Just to clarify, you saying so the United States appointed him as president, so they didn't have like a vote?
They had a vote. They had a vote, but from what I understand is he came in as third, and normally the runoff is the first two. And Haiti, not Haiti, but the United States, or they found a way to convince them to have the third guy, which is the president that got assassinated recently, to be part of the runoff, and he wound up winning. And of course, when it comes to voting in these third world countries or countries in general, there's always the thought of fraud and people lying and this, that, and the other. And for me, if I'm a country, I want to stand on my own. It's like kind of like the United States is the big brother, and Haiti is the little brother, and you're telling me what to do, and I don't think that when you have another country giving their thoughts, not just their thoughts, but really mingling in the politics of the other country, is probably not going to be as successful as we wanted to. But again, at the end of the day, I seen what happened. Like you said, you had a few individuals from South Florida, Matter of fact, like the other day, you had like a speaker, or I'm not sure exactly who he was. He got arrested. You got other few people that are arrested from Venezuela, some from Dominican Republic and other countries. And the crazy thing is the people that actually assassinated him was the individuals that was there to protect him. Because once I found out, that he got killed, I'm like, it had to be an inside job, and I'm pretty sure you was thinking the same thing. Is it's like, because again, how do presidents get assassinated in this day and time? And I guess it was his security team that actually assassinated him. And from what I'm hearing is that the United States had a hand in providing that security team. So going back to what I was saying before, it just is a whole bunch of smoke, and you don't know exactly who to actually believe. From the documentary that I actually seen, you had an individual, somebody, they call him Barbecue. He basically burned individuals, but the crazy thing is, the documentary that I seen on Vice, he basically went in the hoods that they're saying that he did all these atrocities and this, that, and the other, and the people were standing with him. There was like, he, from his old mouth, he was like, how can I kill and do certain things from the same people that in the same neighborhood that I came from, and for myself, I can't even much be in this city. If it was like that, I would have to be the worst devil or individual in the world to do certain things like that,
Right.
And from what I was seeing, he was like embraced, and from what I understand is he united like 7 or 9 gangs, and you got to understand, you're not gonna get change without force. People don't just give up power, because, oh, it's the right thing to do. That's not how it normally goes. Normally things change with wars and with civil wars and certain things like that. So for me to see like somebody like myself and yourself just in Haiti, uniting the gangs and certain things like when we say down here, if you united the gangs in the United States, like the Bloods, the Crips, and certain things like that, and us as Black people would be one. It would be kind of crazy for us to think that wherever they're thinking about is not going as planned, or is not going as what the rest of the world would want to actually happen. So again, normally, like I said, people that have the power, they're gonna throw salt on people's name. From like what I said, I seen the documentary, they paint a bad picture on him, but I'm seeing what the actual brown people are actually saying, the civilians that live in Haiti. But again, going back to the president being killed, it's just unfortunate. But for me, my whole stand is, I don't think democracy can actually work in Haiti, because the great times, supposedly, of course, you're gonna have bad times also, but the great times and when Haiti was flourishing, supposedly, because again, I'm only going on what I hear because I'm not there. The best times was when they had the president Papa Doc or Duvalier, and I seen a documentary, painting both sides with him. But again, regardless of the fact, I think that the Haitian people and the Haitian politicians need to figure that out themselves, and not have other entities, the United States and certain other countries, China, putting their 2 cents in. You can be advisors, but if you're my advisor, if Mark is my advisor, he's going to advise me on certain things, and it's me as a person, if I'm going to go ahead and take his advice or go in another direction. So I really feel as this country right now, our country right now, our parents' countries right now, is kind of crazy right now. But it's funny that I think I sent you and Chris a text message showing that certain countries or certain presidents that wind up denying the COVID vaccine wind up getting killed, or getting assassinated or cardiac arrest. Like for me, is coincidences aren't coincidences for me. And then I'm also seeing what's going on in Cuba right now. Hey, it is what it is. We'll jump into Cuba like after this topic.
Yeah. Let me chime in on that on this before we go into Cuba. But Yeah, I mean, I may say something that may people might not like here, but I think, yeah, Haiti, right? The first Black republic, first country to, gain their independence. But to me, they're one of the worst run countries since I want to say the 80s, because, to piggyback off what you said about Papa Doc, things were good during those times. Those were like I think it was like the 60s actually, but
Yep.
the 70s is when it started to turn because of his son Baby Doc.
Mhm.
And it was still under a dictatorship at that time, so, it all really depends on who the ruler is. I don't think it really depends on dictatorship or democracy. I think it doesn't matter. Either way, Haiti just does not work politically for some reason. And yeah, there's a lot of different factors. And I actually been to Haiti. And when I went there, I did my research about what happened. And it's sad because they were a flourishing country. I mean, you might as well call it a company because
There you go.
they were producing a lot of stuff, including like coffee, sugarcane, rice, all kinds of stuff. And then all of a sudden, everybody, all these big countries started wanting a little piece of that. And then they were owed France money. So they had to pay that money back or whatnot. So this is a country that just can't get on their feet for some reason. And it's sad because obviously, we're of Haitian descent. We're born here in the United States, but I consider myself Haitian because that's the culture in which I grew up in. But it's sad because my old heads have always been talking about how the country is messed up. It was only like there's some times there was like a moment during Aristide where it was all right, and there was a moment where when Sweet Mickey was the president when it was all right, to kind of go there and come back. But now it's going back. It's like an ongoing circle with Haiti. But basically, what I say would offend people is that it's almost like like a kid like leaves the house, right? A kid leaves the house and say, hey, I'm just gonna live out on my own. And then once they live out on their own, they realize, okay, I can't do this on my own. I need to come back to the crib, come back to the OG and the old boy, and so I can get back on my feet because you got into some trouble. I feel like that's exactly what Haiti has gone through. Like they left, France's rule took over them, murdered a bunch of the French army to
But
gain their. What's
have
that?
they though? Because after they supposedly got their freedom, like if we beat Napoleon and other entities back when Dessalines and Toussaint actually had a revolution, how are you paying these same people for your freedom? So it's like you was never free. You was free
Right.
for, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying.
I definitely feel like
Yeah.
that they were definitely never free. I mean, I think the Bible actually says if you owe a debt to someone, you are a slave to that debt. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think Haiti, believe it or not, needs to be taken over by another country. And because obviously Haiti can't get it right, unfortunately. I'm gonna repeat what I said since you left for a second, but
Yeah, I heard they had to run back. Like, what, you think they need to be ran by another
I,
country?
I feel like they need to be run by another country. I'm not sure if it needs to be United States or it needs to be France or anything like that. But I think another country needs to take over this country and build a strong infrastructure. They don't have a strong infrastructure. They don't have strong politics going on. So, like, if you can't do it yourself for all this time, and then somebody needs to take over. It's almost like a business that is falling apart, right? What do you do? You either sell the business, let somebody else take over, or somebody else comes in and becomes the new CEO and runs it how it's supposed to be run. Now, I'm not saying go back to slavery, obviously. I'm not saying go back to, maybe a dictatorship. I mean, dictatorship, I mean, it works in some countries. It doesn't work in most countries because people don't like to be told, basically how much they can, buy and what they can do or whatnot. So yeah, I feel like Haiti needs to be taken over by another country because they can't, for all these years, they can't get it right. Now they're, if what you're saying is true and their own security was in on the assassination, then your country is in shambles right
But
now.
who gave them security?
That I don't know. I mean
They said
it's
that
I
the
mean I'm
United
sure
States.
there's other conspiracy theories out there of who gave them the okay to do that, but like something needs to be done, and I just don't have any trust in the country doing it on their own.
Me personally, that's where we kind of disagree on a topic, because I really don't feel like Haiti should be ran by another country. I feel like they should be advised by multiple countries. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think that they should be ran by another country because when you give other people power, do they really want to give it back? And if you're thinking about it, from different documents that I've actually read on and actually watched, you know, they're saying that they consider Haiti the poorest country in, I guess in the Caribbean, supposedly,
In the Western
but
Hemisphere.
in the Western hemisphere. But from my understanding is Haiti is one of the richest countries in the Western hemisphere as far as with the oil that they actually have. And I give you an example. They tell the documentary that I actually seen, they said we have more oil than like the Middle East. We have more oil than like Venezuela. They basically said like not the United States, but Haiti's um, um, Olympic pool is, matter of fact, from Venezuela's and Iraq and the Middle East's glass of water is not compared to the Olympic pool of oil that Haiti has. So when I think about certain things like that, this is a perfect way to destabilize a country. You definitely don't want to give that black nation that power, because if we have all of that oil, you know what it is. You feel me? You're gonna have individuals wanting to fight us for that. You're gonna have different countries, and the way that we actually, use our commerce and certain things, like people won't, you see how they be waxing in Venezuela, waxing in Iraq and certain things like that, or in the Middle East for their oil, they can go ahead and get it from Haiti. Haiti will be one of the world powers, and for Haiti to go ahead and basically, conquer these nations. Again, I know it's a different time because I'm pretty sure they went through guerrilla warfare. Right now, I do not think guerrilla warfare will work now because, again, they have technology. They could just bomb you and win like that. They don't even need to put a force on ground over there. But I really do think that Haiti need to kind of figure it out themselves with advisory from other nations, and I'm not talking about the nations that normally have their foot on your neck. And that's, even though I live in the United States, I'm gonna side with our country, because again, the slave owner does not want to give power to the slave. And remember how back in the G or back in the days, how when a slave ran, or when a slave wind up making it free, and got trying to make it free and came and got caught and came back, what did he do? He lined them in front of all of them other slaves, and did what they had to do to them to basically instill that fear in the rest. And for Haiti, Haiti wound up giving the rest of these other black nations power, showing them like you're over here trying to basically demand your will or impose your will on our lifestyle, on our religion, on everything that we stand for. Why you just don't stand up? It's more of us than them. So you got to understand, I feel like that racism and that imposing will is still happening right now till this day, to Haiti. They may make it seem like they're for Haiti when in actuality they're really not, because we basically show the other individuals that look like me and you or close to, that you don't need to be a slave. You don't need to have somebody telling you what to do and what not to do, because if you're thinking about a religious standpoint, forget whichever religion you're standing on. God created us to be free, and again, you have other individuals that don't want certain things to actually change because they got the actual power. So for me, I really feel like Haiti should go ahead and do it on their own, figure out a way to get that oil that we're talking about, build your military,
Let
not
me
just
ask you, though, how long have they known that they had that oil?
I really think it's gonna be bad for me to say this, but I think that our people are dumb. They like, I'm for real. Like they're smart, but they're dumb because they're always following what outsiders are saying. You know what I'm saying? If you and if they're saying that there's this oil and this, that, and the other, there's gold, all type of different things, then you should be trying to get that. But if you're a third world country, you don't have the technology to even pull that oil, to dig up that gold, to dig up certain things and valuables that is in your country. But again, it's just funny how all these things are happening to these nations that want to stand on their own, and then after the fact, we find out that it was a lie, it was a ruse, and nothing happens to those individuals that did lie, and because it's a well-oiled machine when it comes to power. Individuals in power want to keep that power, and I mean, we're the number one nation in the world. Do you really think that we're trying to lose power to Russia or to Cuba or to Haiti, those individuals that aren't in line with the same things and the same values that we have over here? Even though I live over here, I don't think that these slave owners or these people in position of power do want to give up that power. I don't think so.
So what I'm saying is, how long have they known that they had that oil?
I can't really say. I can't really say because, and if they did know that they had that oil, they still don't have the technology. They
That's
don't
what
have.
I'm saying. But that's my point, man. Like, if you know you have all these resources, and my guess is that they knew that they had these resources for a long time. I'm at least 30 years. That's what I'm thinking. They knew they had these resources. You got all these resources besides oil. You got, like I said, you got coffee, you got rice, you got other resources besides that.
Mhm.
And you as a country still, you can't build off of that. To me, you need to be run by somebody else, because obviously you can't run the country like yourself. Now I feel what you're saying, where maybe they should be coming in as a consultant. I'm not saying take full power of the country, but like somebody else needs to come and run this, because obviously, there's been turmoil for forever. Ever since you and I was a kid. Wasn't your parents always talking politics? Talking about how politics in Haiti is messed up. If you turn on Haitian radio right now, it's been like that forever. Like in the 90s, the early 2000s, if you turn on Haitian radio, what are they talking about? Politique, politics, all the time.
Mhm.
How it's messed up, and how they need to change stuff, and they need to change things around. When it was the early 90s or the 90s, they were run by a dictatorship by Cedras. And that's when it was messed up. And it was like, no, we got to change it. And then they brought in Aristide. And then
See, but the
Aristide
reason,
didn't really do much,
see, but
you know?
the reason why is you got to understand. Like, I don't really think
Everybody knows
that
how
it
many.
matters. Like you said before, if it's a dictatorship or a democracy, if you have individuals that's willing to line their pockets with money and the goods that the other nations are giving you to help uplift your country, then it doesn't matter if it's a democracy or not a
Right.
republican
Exactly.
or communism or anything like that. So I really feel like, again, those are individuals that didn't eat for years, and finally, when they actually have that position to actually help the people, instead of helping the people, they help themselves and they help their families and they help their friends. You know what I'm saying? So I really think that's really the main problem with Haiti. And again, if you're gonna go ahead and get a little money off it, I feel you. You feel me? Because that's just how certain people think. I wouldn't think like that. I wouldn't move like that. But I'm gonna make sure that after my presidency or my family is well off and well good. But like again, for me to see all these different countries giving us certain things and the infrastructure is still trash. You feel me? Like, you know, you got people still living in huts. You still don't have certain running water in certain neighborhoods. You still have people with the roads all messed up and certain things like that. And then you have on top of that them cutting all the trees, and people don't understand why you have all these mudslides and certain things like that, because you don't have trees and certain things to actually absorb that water. It's like everything with Haiti is backwards. But again, at the end of the day, you can't have somebody like me and Marcus go over there to actually help, because one, they won't trust us because we come from the United States.
Right.
Two,
Right.
they'll probably try to kill us.
Yeah.
Because you know these individuals do not
ransom us for money with our families back here.
exactly. So again, at the end of the day, like the only way I really feel like things will change if they change it with force. And sometimes you're gonna have some individuals that die. You're gonna have some individuals that have West in a bad light because it didn't align with their way of living. I changed the way they live and certain things like that. But again, you will never know until you try it. And like I said, when Papa Doc was there, you know, people were scared of him. People didn't want no pressure with him. You know why? Because of the way that he actually ruled. But again, like I remember, like if you had a horse and the horse used the bathroom on the street and you didn't pick it up as the horse owner, something would happen to you. You know, I don't know if you got killed, got arrested, or certain things like that. But certain things actually happen to you. So I think that's the way that they're gonna actually have to go back. And again, you know, as far as Aristide, and I also seen something like this morning, Aristide thinking about coming back to Haiti and this, that, and the other. Like when he was in office, I heard bad things about him also. So, you know, I heard the good and the bad, and of course, who actually appointed him, the United States. So I think the only way that you actually gonna change things is if you have a president from that country, a president for his people, a president that is not soft. And another thing I heard, that the reason why he actually got killed because you know you had these different entities that put him in position that he went against what they wanted him to do. You know, he was starting his own military, you know, rebuilding the military and certain things and this, that, and the other. And you know, that's kind of a conversation I had with y'all. Like, yo, like finesse them. You feel me? Like, you know, a few years, you know, you working with the United States and other countries, but again, there's gonna actually have to have a date where like you're not part of this country. You know, so it is what it is. Hopefully, it doesn't get worse. I don't see anything happening better anytime soon. But you know, shout out to our brothers in Haiti, because I have family still there. You know, my mom, you know, my mom had properties over there, you know, and you know, you got to understand when people are fighting for power, you know, the weak are gonna suffer even more, and that's exactly what it looked like is happening right now in Haiti.
Yeah, Haiti, what they really need to concentrate on, and this is gonna be my last point on this, is that they need to concentrate on tourism, because you know there's many third world countries that are kind of you know not as economically equipped as you know other you know major countries, but they're still able to flourish. They're still able to have a strong you know infrastructure, because I mean, places like Jamaica and then the Bahamas, you know,
Yeah, no, because when I went to Jamaica a few years back, you feel me? Guess who has like control in Jamaica? Chinese have they like their roads, their buses, their like everything is kind of like Chinese. I'm like, damn, like I could have sworn I was in Jamaica. You feel me? Yeah, you know it's Jamaicans, but again, they have you know these other
but
entities
it's better
you know embedded in their society, which is not always a good thing.
what is better infrastructure than Haiti is what I'm saying. And if they need Chinese people, if Haiti needs Chinese people to take over Haiti and make, you know, buses and highways and stuff like that, then that's what needs to happen, you know, and that's my point. They need to really concentrate on tourism. in different parts of the country to build economic wealth in the country, to start to build things and have a stronger military and all of that. Because, you know, if it keeps it going the way it is, ain't nothing going to get better, like you said. But anyways, we'll move on to the next topic. I mean, to
What do you
me,
think about Cuba?
well, Cuba, man, is a whole nother issue, man. To me, I mean, I don't really have a lot of feelings about it, because I mean they have been in dictatorship for who knows how long. And but what the things that are happening are kind of sad. Yeah, I mean they're not kind of sad; they are sad. As far as, you know, I feel like the police and the military are just, you know, randomly killing people and just doing stuff like that. I mean, I don't really have an opinion on what to do about Cuba, because, you know, United States hasn't had the best relationship with Cuba. It just started really having a relationship, I believe, under Obama. They finally started to have some kind of relationship where Americans can just go over there.
But
So I
what
have no
happened?
idea what has triggered what's going on right now. I just, you know, hope that things get better. But I have no idea. I'm not privy to really what is causing this all these happenings going on over there, and I'm not sure exactly what the solution is.
Well, me personally, like, I have no solution to that also. But again, you have protests happening, the 826 being blocked and this, that, and the other. I don't understand how, I understand the protesting, but I don't understand how the Cubans expect, regular Americans, myself, yourself, people are getting pissed off at the protest because it's affecting their lives. I mean, like, what protesting on the 826 is going to do for you personally? For me, like, if you're going to protest at the White House, where I did see yesterday they were doing protests at government establishments. Don't protest and affect, the normal or the regular Joe Schmo that doesn't know what's going on in your country, because you're people like me gonna be like, look at these motherfuckers. They done did this, and it's inconveniencing me. Like, why am I getting inconvenienced because you're protesting? You feel me? Especially when me getting home later is not going to affect your cause. You know what I'm saying? And there's another thing, like, you always got to know that, the reason why United States don't really want no pressure with Cuba is because, like, they have an alliance with these communist nations, especially Russia. And Miami's like, look, if they was to set off a bomb or a rocket to, hit us, like, it'll get here in like 15, 20 minutes. There won't be no chance, for us to even try to prepare for it. In regards to Cuba, I think Fidel Castro had the right mind in the beginning, but again, like I said before with Haiti, power corrupts. When people start seeing certain money, it corrupts. In the beginning, he probably was for his people, but then after he wound up getting power, that wound up changing, and he was lining his pockets and lining his family pockets with future wealth, generational wealth. So it's hard for me to kind of figure out what's going on or what's really going on in Cuba, because they really don't have no contact with the United States like that, besides with the individuals that have family members in Miami or other parts of the country are telling them. But you gotta understand, there's always two sides to a story. you know um I don't know. Hopefully they figure this out. But they have a better situation than Haiti. I tell you that. Like, just looking at Cuba, Cuba looks better than Haiti. Haiti just looks run down, and the buildings look like these individuals don't know what they're doing as far as with infrastructure. So, yeah, not saying that y'all well off, because definitely y'all not. Y'all, like, look, y'all ran by a communist country. But again, like, if you look at Haiti and you look at Cuba, I think Haiti got it worse, because again, what they say, we're the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. I would think that the United States and other countries will want to help that country first, you know. But again, I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm not from Cuba. I don't have no family members that's Cuban. I only can really speak on what's going on in Haiti, but it's real unfortunate that you guys are still suffering through all this heartache, through years and years of suffering. But again, I'm gonna go ahead and have my heart with the Haitian people first. So I see SOS Cuba, SOS Haiti, you know, SOS Haiti and SOS Cuba, but Haiti for different points.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, as far as Cuba is concerned, Cubans have always been more accepted into this country than Haitians. So I'm already have feelings about that, and yeah, things are going bad in Cuba right now, but how long have things been going bad in Haiti? We just been talking about it, so I mean, I understand all that, but what's like what you said, what is protesting, like say if we protested in hate for Haiti, what is that going to really do? I mean, if we started the protest on 95 for Haiti, like I don't really see that really making a real change, like, so I totally agree with the inconvenience and all of that. But anyways, that's all I'm gonna say on that. I'm gonna transition to a sport that is very popular in those countries, and that's soccer, which also has some political things going on this week with we all know the Euros came to an end, and I don't know if y'all saw the game, but Italy was against England. It came down to penalty kicks. When it goes to overtime and you still tied, it was still tied 1-1, I believe, and it goes to penalty kicks, and the penalty kicks uh, actually came down to some well-known players on England who happen to be black. Okay. And these black players missed the penalty kick. They missed their penalty kick. One guy, I'm wearing a Manchester United shirt right now because I like that team because they're a very diverse team. That's where David Beckham used to play, and a lot of other great players, whatever. But as soon as they missed those kicks, bro, I knew that there was going to be some racial stuff going on because, like I said, England is like the Dallas Cowboys of soccer, and they were finally in a final. So there's all this pressure, and I knew, like, when it came down to the penalty kicks, I knew, I was like, the pressure is going to be too much for these guys to just to get these penalty kicks in the back of the net. So three young players, they're young superstars in their own right, but they young players, they all in their early 20s, you know, and they all missed the penalty kicks, and Italy ends up winning the Euros. So of course, after that, all of this racial hate comes on to these players. They're calling them monkeys on social media, bananas and stuff like that, telling them to go back to Nigeria. And they're from England. They're born in England. Obviously, they're playing for England, and they're telling them to go back to Nigeria, go back to Africa. So I bring this up because this was a big story. And then one of the players, Marcus Rashford, who plays for Manchester United, is big on giving back to the community, and he's always been about racial equality from the jump, way before all of this. He was one of the biggest you know uh advocates when it comes to Black Lives Matter. So he was just he actually had a mural of they had a mural of him in England. So they like vandalized the mural, and then but people came out and they supported him and they blocked it all, and they changed it up and they put like words of encouragement for him. But I bring this up because it's a story, and it's a story that continues to be the world story, and the world story is it's racist. You know, like
Exactly.
no matter how good you are or how great you are, they're always going to look at when you do something bad, because these players are, like I said, they're great players in their own right. They're young superstars in their own right, and they're praised when they do something good. But as soon as you do something bad, oh, you a black person, or you a gorilla, or you this or you that, you the N word. You know, like it's just an ongoing story that will. It seems like it will never end. Like every time there's a situation like this, we're often reminded that this world is not, it's not, you know, flowers and dandelions. It's not that at all. It's a bunch of people who only care about you because you're wearing the shirt. You know, as soon as you take the shirt off, you just you just the N word. You just a nigga, like what Jay Z said. You know, in his song, "Story of OJ." So yeah, I think it's just a reminder to all of us who are black, who you know, you just need to be reminded that no matter how big you get, or how famous or how charitable you are, certain people are always going to look at you a certain way, and as soon as you do something bad, they will find a way to throw that mud in your face and
Exactly.
tear you down.
Yeah, going back to what you were saying as far as like you have these countries that show their true colors. Let's just say what it is. Racism, you can't not hide racism. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Look what happened with the former owner of the Clippers, and how he was actually speaking. People going to tell the real, when they're not being recorded, when they're in the comforts of their homes, or when they're in a sporting event or certain things like that. You even seen like when we was coming back, the NBA was coming back, and we had our own players getting dealing with I wouldn't say probably racism, I don't know, or just being people just not knowing how to stay in their own lane. Again, when it comes to the mural, I seen that mural that actually got vandalized, and then you had the community over there. They kind of put certain things around it, blocking the hate messages that was from there. But again, I like to get reminded about that all the time, because you have individuals that they the only time they care about you if you when you're doing something for them. People got to understand it's just a game. Like that, like a game doesn't necessarily change anything that's happening in reality. It makes you people play baseball, football, and sports and soccer, to not have to deal with whatever's happening in the world. But when you bring that to the actual stadium, I can't knock you for it, because that's how you feel. It's just unfortunate that people still think like that. But you got to understand, like when you talk about Europe, you have a lot of countries that aren't for Black people. In the United States, even, and we're considered the number one country in the world, and people still actually do the certain things. I mean, you have people in California supposedly getting hanged. I think, the last few years, a few people got hung in California or other states. I may be wrong with the state, but I think it was California.
I think one of
And
them was Missouri.
but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't change. Someone that's not gonna like me because of my hair. They're already not gonna like me because of my skin. And I do not want people like me and you, people that look like us, to forget that. Because you have a lot of people that think that it's happy-go-lucky, and there's flowers and daisies. We're just in awe of racism being dismantled or stopped. No, we have racism in our police force. We have racism in other countries. We have racism when it comes to how you treat us. When it have racism as far as like if Marcus wanted to buy a house, he's going to get a higher rate than probably Christian, because Christian looks white, but he's not, you know. I still think he black, you know. I seen the picture of his family and his grandma. Everybody in that damn picture was black. His mom was the light-skinned one. So regardless of the fact, I really feel like these individuals shouldn't be, I wouldn't say shouldn't be allowed. You should be allowed to voice how you feel. Just when that happens, it has repercussions to it. You see, like when you say certain things about certain communities, you get canceled now. At least in the United States, over there, it should be considered a hate crime. You know, you have Asians in the United States getting attacked right now because everybody feel like, not everybody, a lot of individuals feel like Asians are the ones who brought the coronavirus out to the world. And even though it started in Asia, I don't think that every Asian are bad. No, you know, when it comes to, but they passed a law for that hate crime. Look, me and Marcus could have to deal with hate crime. I just seen a video the other day, and a police officer, you know, was some individuals had bought some things from Target, and they had their receipt and everything like that, and a police officer was trying to antagonize the employee of the job to say that they didn't buy what they bought, even though they had receipts for it. That's a form of racism for me. And when it comes to the sport that we're talking about, soccer right now, you have some individuals, African descent, they're saying go back to Nigeria or go back to Africa. That's because they know that's where we're from. We're like, even though I'm American, I'm African. Right. Even though I'm Haitian, I'm African. And this is what they see. They're telling you exactly what you need to know. All this false reality, thinking that people are different now. No, you know, you got parents that teach their kids to be racist, to teach their kids to be violent, to teach their kids to move in a certain way. We don't. But again, at the end of the day, like, that's not going to change things. I really feel like sometimes we still need to get a little kick in the pants and get reminded that racism is not gone. It's here to stay. You know, Same thing like corruption. Corruption is not gone. It's here to stay, because you have some rational people and some positive people, and you have some people detrimental to the society that we live in your country, my country. It's just what it is. It's unfortunate that it still happens, but look, maybe if somebody was racist and they got punched in the face for being racist to that person, and nothing happens to that person that punched them in the face, then people will probably stop being racist. Again, violence with violence normally doesn't change things. It just brings more violence. But like Mike Tyson said a few times, you have individuals that, when we got social media, they're brave on social media because they know they're not going to get punched in the face. You have people in the soccer world, or even in the NBA, when they threw something at Russell Westbrook, the only person that I really felt was Ron Artest. You threw a drink on my ass, I'll beat that ass. You feel me? I'll whoop your ass. You know, and I guarantee that person would never do that again. Or probably not, because now it's a lawsuit. You're suing me because I done whooped your ass for throwing a drink on me. Damn, like, you didn't know that you threw a drink on me? Damn, you didn't know that you called me monkey? You didn't throw a banana peel at me and bananas at me? Like, would you do that on these regular streets? No. People are brave because society has built this mechanism where you can be racist and do racist things to people. And when those people that's getting abused from the racism fight back, they're the ones that get in trouble. Like, it just doesn't make any sense for me. Again, you had Prince, I don't think it's Prince Harry, but I think his brother was speaking out against that. But look, there was an article not too long ago about your family member being racist.
Oh yeah.
There's a mechanism that's like,
that's why they left. That's why the prince and his wife left. They left the England over there because they're being racist to her.
That's why his mom got killed, because she was dating someone that was like out of their race. I think he was like African or something, some black descent. I don't know exactly what it was. And they didn't like that. They didn't like that, and they found a way to kill her. Same way, like when it came to him, and they had that documentary with Oprah, and she's exposing the real.
Yeah.
Look, this is what happens. People gonna smile in your face and say they're not racist, but they're racist.
Yeah.
Look, it is what it is. Though they know that they're gonna lose endorsements. They know that people gonna turn their back on them. So this is what you seen with the guy from, like I said, from the Clippers. When his true colors came out, the NBA forced him to sell a team.
Yeah.
Hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is, man. That's the
And I'm pretty sure Mark is not mad at this because we live with this every day. We can't wake up and be like, oh, I want to be white.
and
No.
sad part is that we used to it, you know. It's like
Yeah.
it is what it is, you know. Ever since we've been, you know, just living out here in this world, we've been taught about slavery and like what happened, and then we see it in real life of the racist things that happen, maybe personally to us or family members or you know just people in our community. So it's just something. It's a never-ending thing, and it's a constant reminder. And I mean, I don't really like to see this type of news, but yeah, it's better to know the reality than to have some kind of wool pulled before our eyes. But
Exactly. It's the ending story.
yeah, with the flying dog and everything. But yeah, man, I'll transition to just international soccer. I just want to say congratulations to Messi for winning his first international tournament. He beat Brazil. They beat Brazil 1-0. It was great to see. As soon as the final whistle blew, he fell down to his knees because he knows how important it was for him to, you know, because obviously when he's done playing at Barcelona in Spain, he's going to come back to Argentina with where his home is at. So he wants to, you know, have that feeling of like, hey, I at least I brought at least one championship to y'all. So yeah, congratulations to Messi. He's a player that I've always thought was just one of the greatest players just to play. He's just a gifted player. There's some players who are just, you could tell like this is what you were born to do, you know. And then there's other players that train very, very hard to become great, you know. And I think, you know, that's kind of like, for example, this may be a bad example, but I think a player like Steve Nash, I think he was born to play basketball for me because he's gifted in that. And, you know, Steph Curry too. Like, I think you were born to play this game. But I think there's other players who trained to become great. Like a Cristiano Ronaldo, to me, I think he became this great player. I think LeBron became trained to become this great player. Of course, you know, you were blessed with the physical gifts, but Messi wasn't. Steph wasn't. You know, Steve Nash, they weren't blessed with these physical gifts. They're pretty much kind of, for their sport, small people. So they are just wizards at what they do. So I'm happy for Messi for winning that tournament. Yeah, anything you want to say on that?
Nah, you know, I was happy that he won also. And I'm like, I remember when y'all was teaching me about soccer, you know, the rules and certain things like that. And then before we actually recorded the podcast, you kind of explained to me, you know, like, you know, people throw dirt on his name because he didn't win. And that this was really important to him. And for him to actually win that, for him to get that monkey off his back, same like LeBron, when LeBron was getting criticized all them years, and then he finally won the championship with the Miami Heat. You know, that monkey was off his back. And piggybacking off what you were saying, some people are born to do it, and some people actually train to actually do it. As far as MJ, MJ was born to do it. And going back to what you were saying, LeBron, he trained to be great. You know, he had the physical abilities, he had the IQ, but his shot got a little better. When he came in the league, he really couldn't shoot like that. That's why he got swept by the Spurs the first time when he made it to the championship. And for him, his mid-range game went up. His 3-point shot went up. And even now, I think that considered one of the best individuals at the last few seconds in the game to hit a game-winning shot. Before, he wasn't. before, Skip and all these other individuals that want to throw dirt on his name, use that as a platform to throw him under the bus. So to see Ronaldo actually win, not Ronaldo, Messi, excuse me, for Messi to actually win, it felt good, even though I don't really watch a sport like that. You always want to see people achieve and overcome obstacles and achieve certain goals. And you love to see people stop talking shit about people, like it's not like the regular Joe Smo can do what he do. I know I can't run for 90. How long did they be running for, like 2 hours?
90 minutes.
Okay, 90 minutes. I can't run 90 minutes back and forth without throwing up. Look, I remember when I ran for a little while because it was like a relay race or whatever it is, and my stomach started hurting, and you throw up. And
that's so funny you say that, man. Yesterday, for the first time in like a long time, I just said I'm gonna go run, bro. So I ran yesterday. So I ran, like, there's this little elementary school around my house here. So I just ran around the elementary school and I almost was dying, kid. And right now my legs are sore.
Yes.
Like, man, so like it just gives me more makes me want to just praise these athletes even more, because I mean, come on, man, like, for what they do, especially the guys that are my age, like a guy like Messi, who's like out around our age, a guy like LeBron, who's our age, close to our age right now, and still doing it on that level.
Look at Shannon Sharp.
You deserve the props.
Like, look at Shannon Sharp. Like, I look at Shannon Sharp, I'm like, the guy's damn near 50 years old, still looking like a beast. You feel me? Like, yo, but again, that all comes from a lifestyle. When you have that lifestyle, you look better, you feel better, and you're able to do a lot of things that other individuals aren't able to do, because they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. And he's like, I don't even want none of the cake, so hey, it definitely was a good thing to see Messi actually win. But again, another topic that I think is a great topic that we can actually talk about is the Richard Sherman situation. Huh?
I think we should talk about your background, man. What's going on in your background over there? You got Dame, you got Bam. Like, what's the conversation you trying to start there, man?
Well, everybody got a dream, and this is one of the dreams that I hope come true. But I have good things and bad things to say about that. From what I heard, Damian Lillard actually requested for a trade. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but on my Yahoo Sports, that's what popped up on my Google, and I was like, what? And then they had him in the Miami Heat uniform. They said, he have a top team. You got the Lakers, you got Miami Heat, you got Golden State, and you got the New York Knicks. Now, everybody know that nobody want to go to the Knickerbockers. And Miami Heat, we got the beaches, we got the women, we got the weather. We have a government that is not forcing a vaccine on you like other states. And we have no state tax. So for him to even must put the Miami Heat in that actual breath was like refreshing for me early in the morning. But there's always some negatives to it, because he has to get traded. And if we trade him, we'll basically have to trade everybody that we really love in Miami to actually get him. That's the only reason why I'm like, this deal is not going to happen. And the only reason why I feel like I do not want that deal, because I don't want to have to, trade everybody. He wants to come to Miami because we have a great team. We have a great organization. He really wouldn't have to do much to get where he wants to get to. So if we wind up trading like a plethora of our players, it's going to be detrimental to the Heat. Now, again, I want Kawhi. I've been saying that for the longest. He doesn't like the medical staff at the Clippers. He doesn't like the medical staff at the Spurs. And you know what he did with the Spurs. So if he's having a problem with the staff, you've seen how he was in the stands, not being with his team during playoffs. That's the individual that I want. Again, I put this background up here because, again, it's a dream that I want to happen. But it's a dream that I want to happen that I don't want to wake up to, because if it really happened and we actually trade everybody to get him, I'm kind of going to be a little pissed off, because Jimmy Butler, even though I love him, he is not a great shooter. He has everything else around him, to make him a better player. But his shot, he's been in the league a while, and his shot is decent, but it's not great. Damian Lillard, on the other hand, is like, yo, like, give me the money, show me the money, just like Jerry Maguire, show me the money. He's gonna show you the money. That's why his name is Dame Dollar.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. I mean, as soon as I seen it, I was like, yo, is this something going on? Because I actually seen something today too, that he said, like, in the because he's on the international team, he's on the USA basketball team that's going to the Olympics, that he was asked, do you want to stay in Portland? And he was like, well, something's got to change. And in my opinion, it's got to be the coach. And I was like, whoa, he came out and just said it just like that. And Dame usually, keeps stuff under the radar. He doesn't really say stuff out loud. So I think Dame definitely wants out, because if he says something like that in a press conference, this is just a press conference, they asking questions. Of course, a journalist like myself, we're going to ask a question to try to get, the most controversial answer, I guess. And he answered it. Usually they'll, they won't reveal their true truth, because, they don't want to be fined, or they don't want to start any rumors, anything like that. But Dame is like, F it. This is not the situation that I want to be in right now. So that kind of raises eyebrows. That's going to raise eyebrows all around the league. Pat Riley is on the phone right now to see what they can do to make that happen. Because to me, Dame I could say he's my favorite player in the league. Him and I would say Steph. But I think Dame has more of this swagger about him that I like. And he's a rapper. He's a pretty decent rapper. Mm-hmm. So I would love to see Dame. I would love to see Dame in a uniform. And right now, since you got Bam and Dame up there, they are playing together right now in international play. Now, a big topic this week was they lost to Nigeria, who actually has 2 Heat players on it, by the way.
Three. I think they have 3 players.
Well, not from the Heat. They got another player, Okafor, who plays for OKC, I think, who plays in the NBA, but he doesn't play for us. But they got the I forgot the young boy with the fro and the braid. Vincent. And then Achua is over there playing for Nigeria, and they beat the USA team. I'm talking about a loaded USA team. And I know you saw that block that Achua had on KD. I know you've seen it. and it was nice. And then they went around, they messed around and lost to Australia. So I was like, damn, what's going on? But the next game they play Argentina, and then Dame wakes up, and Bam has a great game as well, with some assists, so maybe, that chemistry over there where they playing over there in Vegas, training for the Olympics, is something that we can, foresee as a future, joining of teammates. Because remember, this is how the Big Three started. The Big Three started this way because LeBron and Bosh and Wade all played together in the Olympics. They were called the Redeem Team because they kind of restored the greatness of USA basketball. And they were like, damn, we playing so good together. Let's make this a real team over here in the States. And that's what happened. And we go to 4 straight finals, win 2 championships. So this could be something that happens again. I'm not trying to get the Heat fan all excited, but, just looking at it, I'm just like, that could be something. Because if we got Dame and we got Bam, Bam is still relatively young. I feel like he could still develop, even better than he was last year. I think he developed a lot from the year before to the year that just passed, but I think he can get even better. And if he has a player like Dame, and if Jimmy Butler has a player like Dame on his squad, You know what that opens up for him? Now he could just drive into the lane like nothing, kick it out. Dame is open and Dame could drive. And this is going to be crazy. It's going to be a big three all over again. So, yeah, I hope just like the USA got things right in that game against Argentina, because they ended up blowing them out by like 25 or 30 or something like that. I think I could see us, really rejuvenating our squad with a player like Dame.
Yeah, definitely. I would love, like I said, I would love to see Dame here is just, giving up so much to actually get him. But of course, we got the Godfather and Pat Riley. He always find ways to get it done. And if we're able to get it done without having to trade everyone, then, I'll definitely accept it. We do know that Jimmy Butler, he want an extension. Bam's getting paid a certain amount of money. And Dame will have to pick up his contract, because he is still under contract. Hopefully the money, it works, but again, like I said, I wouldn't mind Kawhi, even though he just had his surgery. I would rather keep him because he had his surgery. We could go ahead and try to lowball him a little bit. Lowball him a little bit, get him over here and be like, yo, like you could come over here with Jimmy Butler and Bam, and we don't have to give up no one to actually pick you up. Precious Yeshua, like I said, I seen that block like you alluded to earlier. And you got Vincent. Everybody was just giving him the ball, feeding him the ball to rain them threes on the actual our Olympic team. But the crazy thing is, like, I really haven't even seen all those Olympic games. I ain't haven't seen one. I seen highlights. And that's another thing. You feel me? It's just
I haven't seen them either.
But again, it's going back to what we were speaking on was Sha'Carri, when people, like, we love basketball. Like, we love it. Look what we're talking about. We're always going to talk about the Miami Heat, but we're one of these individuals that love basketball, and we're yet to see a Olympic game in regards to basketball. So when those individuals said that they're not wanting to watch because you're not racing, look, same thing. But Dame in Miami would be great. That's a dream. Hopefully he doesn't go to the damn Lakers. And if he do, I don't mind the Lakers than the Knicks, because I don't want to have to play Dame in the fucking East. And we have our history, the Heat in Miami, when the fighting with grandmama and if individuals don't know who's grandmama, that's Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning and PJ Brown and Jamal Mashburn. We always wanted to fight over there. So I do not want you guys, especially you finally made the playoffs. You got a good coach in Tom Thibodeau. He's really defensive orientated. I think Dame got a good defense, and he definitely got a great offense. I wouldn't want to see you 4 times out of the year in the East. Look, LeBron left. We don't want y'all here. We already got to deal with KD. We already got to deal with KD, Harden, and Irving. I do not want to see Dame in the East unless he's in Miami. But hey, it is what it is.
Hey, since we talking basketball, we might as well talk NBA Finals. I don't know if you've seen some of the NBA Finals this week, but I actually saw my first full game of the NBA Finals, which was the last one, Game 4. It was disappointing to see Chris Paul play as bad as he did. Devin Booker showed up, but Chris Paul played terrible. But the main point I want to get across in these the NBA Finals period is like the refs, bro. The refs are trash. Oh, did you see it? First of all, did you see it? The finals, the Game 4?
Yeah, I definitely seen it. And I seen that Booker was supposed to get fouled out, and then
that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm just like, what the hell? I understand he has what 4? He had 5 fouls, and you don't want him out of the game. But like, there's no way in hell that you don't call a foul. When I was watching it, I was like, is there something wrong with my audio? Did I not hear the whistle? Because that doesn't make no sense to me at all. the fact that they didn't call a foul there, man. Like there was just so many egregious calls. And then there was one time where towards the end of the game where Jay Crowder had a clean block and they called a foul. I know you
Yep,
seen that too. I was
seen
just
that
like,
too.
come on, man. Like it's for people who want to believe that this game is real, they just totally told you, oh, well, this game is rigged. And we
It
want,
is.
yeah, this game is rigged. And, they're going to create whatever champion they want to create, or they're going to extend it to game 7 or something like that. I mean, now it's 2-2. We're going to game 5. So basically, we got a 3-game series with Phoenix with the home court advantage. It's just, I don't know, man. I left that game feeling like, what did I just watch? You know what I'm saying? Like because the refs calls were just so egregious to me, and I just felt like it wasn't fair. And if you're gonna have replay, use replay for bad calls as well. If there's a bad call that the refs make, then say, hey, we looked at the call and we realized the call was a bad call. Like, come on. Like, if there's an obvious error, and they do this in soccer now, like if there's an obvious error and they feel like the ref did a bad call, then they'll reverse the play. They need to do that in basketball. And I was just disappointed in the refs and disappointed in Chris Paul in that game. But it's 2-2, and we'll see what happens in the next 3 games.
Yeah, I was disappointed also, but you know who I'm gonna blame. I'm gonna blame LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. Because as soon as Chris Paul won those 2 games, you got LeBron and Dwayne Wade congratulating him like he won, and putting all this pressure on him. Like, yo, like and not just that, but you putting fire under Milwaukee's butt, making it seem like we're here and we're not here. We're just gonna lose, and it's just unfortunate. Like I say, I know you probably when I said LeBron James, like what? Yeah, like yo, shut up, LeBron. Like let your dog play, and don't congratulate him until it's over and he actually do get the ring, because it doesn't make any sense for LeBron and Dwayne Wade to speak on something that's actually happening. Again, when it comes to the referees are trash, like you said. Chris Paul said 11. He said 11. And every time this one referee, I don't remember his name, refereed Chris Paul, he hadn't got into it with Chris Paul, but 11 straight games, 11 straight losses when it came to Chris Paul, So Mike Donahue, again, the former referee that wind up saying that it is rigged, you went to jail behind it, and people try to forget what he actually said. And if you think that it was just him, it was not him. It's just like that old guy that retired. And every time it was a finals or anything like that, I think Crawford. He was like people say he's a great referee, and I thought he was a horrible referee. I thought that he always missed certain calls. And me personally, when you get a certain age, I think you should stop refereeing the game, because it's moving a little fast for you. When it comes to referees that always blow calls, I think after blowing a certain amount of calls, then you lose your job. I think that's what would be the repercussion of these referees blowing calls and changing the game, because the game is in your hand. I just don't like it. As far as Chris Paul poo-pooing that last game, whole bunch of turnovers, and even that turnover that he had in the end of the game that actually sealed it off. I just was like, really? I'm like, like really, like, is this really what's happening? I'm like, I really watched the whole damn game. My wife didn't bother me. Baby was fed, was asleep. So I'm like, perfect time to watch this game. And I wasted a day, or wasted a few hours watching that game, because you had the win. You had the win. You was winning. You had 9-point leads, 12-point leads, and you find a way to lose the game. And regardless of the referee, I wasn't making shots. Chris Paul, like, yo, I'm like, if your shot ain't dropping, then what you think you need to be doing? Driving to the actual rim. But I understand Chris Paul. Every time I drive and they foul me, they don't call foul. Every time. So I think that really is getting into their brain and into their mental and having a problem. But I really do feel like the Phoenix Suns will still win. But remember, like I told you before, I do not mind Milwaukee winning because the Miami Heat lost to LeBron James, the champions, last year. So I don't really feel some type of way. And we got swept by Milwaukee, and if they win, I won't feel some type of way again because I'm like, look, we lost to the champs. Same thing like with the actual Panthers. We lost to the champs. I won't care. It will just be more for me to talk shit to everybody else that don't like the Heat and don't like our sport teams. I'll be like, look, we lost to the champions. So like you lost to somebody else. Like, hey, it is what it is. I wouldn't mind losing to the champions. We didn't know they were gonna be champions, but they are.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think this is gonna be a 7-game series, though. I think I think the Suns are still gonna win, but I think it's gonna be a 7-game series now because of what I saw with the refs. I'm just like, come on, man, y'all want this series extended? To me, there's no explanation, but y'all want this series extended to 7 games. So I think Suns win next game, Bucks win next game after that, and then the Suns find a way to win at home in Game 7.
Exactly. So that's going to go ahead and transition us to the next topic that I wanted to chime in on, was the Richard Sherman video. Not just allegations, video of him banging down his in-laws front door. I think he was trying to get into it with his father-in-law. From what I'm understanding is he was intoxicated, which that of course that's going to play a factor. And I also hear that he was feeling some type of way basically because he was not being able to see his kids. But from what I understand is the father-in-law was not going to give you the kids just from how you was acting at that particular moment. And it's kind of understandable. You're intoxicated, you're breaking down the door, trying to break down the door. Thank God, they got a little money. They probably had the hurricane impact doors. The ones that don't, the ones that open out and not open in to your house. It was kind of disheartening for me to see that because we do know that he's a very intelligent individual, someone that graduated from Stanford. And when it comes to politics, when it comes to right and wrong, he normally gives us a rational conversation or a rational debate on whatever topic that he's talking about at that particular time. But to see him is just not only allegations, but to see him physically doing that, it just was kind of disheartening to see that because I know that he's going to have to deal with that. His image is tainted. Not just that, but I do kind of like the way his family is still sticking with him at this particular time. They're saying that it's something mental. I really don't think that was anything mental. I really think that it just was, he was intoxicated and he was aggravated. You got to understand when you indulge in any type of drug, and alcohol is a drug also, is going to distort the way you think rationally. And this is a rational individual. Like this guy, haven't heard anything negative about him since he's been in the league, before he was in the league. And to actually see this, thank God his father-in-law didn't open the door, because like if somebody's not trying to break down my damn door, like I'm gonna go outside and we gonna thump, and if I have a firearm on me, I'm probably gonna have to bring that into the situation also, because you do got to understand that he's a football player, and even though he looks normal, they're normally bigger than the average guy. So I could assume that he probably would have been able to overpower the stepfather, not the stepfather, but the in-law. But for his wife to say that she's gonna stick with him, that's a down chick. You feel me? When it comes to the Ray Rice situation, his wife wind up seeing the light after the fact, after the damage was already done. And for this situation, thank God they didn't open the door. Thank God it was just him banging on the door. And the crazy thing is, the district attorney, they released him on his own recognizance. So meaning that he didn't have to bond out, he didn't have to do the loops in the justice system to be a free man. I think his name speak for himself, and I do really feel like them saying that it was mental is a way to say he was not drunk. For me, particularly, hey, if I could go ahead and say I had a mental problem, knowing that I could get off on certain charges, but my family and friends know that I don't have no problems mentally, then that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do. I don't blame him for doing that. Of course, he done came out and apologized. Of course, the individuals that he was actually going to attack or causing this problem, which was family members, they're with him on till this day. They're sticking with him. So for me, I gotta stick with him too. I gotta give him the benefit of the doubt, because if your family's giving you the benefit of the doubt, and this is not your mom, this is your in-laws, like, people don't normally have the best relationship with in-laws. I'm happy I got a relationship and great relationship with my in-laws. For them to actually still keep that relationship, knowing that this is what happened, I commend them, and that's what you actually got to do. You don't bring someone down when you know that he's not really in his right mind. You got to stick with these people. And when it comes to marriage, it's thick and thin. Me, I'm married. Marcus is married. When we took that oath under God, it's thick and thin. If anything was to happen to myself, my physically, mentally, emotionally, my wife, she took that oath to help bring me back to where I need to be. And again, when it comes to age-wise, Father Time is undefeated. I'm not gonna look the same. Right now I'm actually, I think I'm a catch right now, but I'm gonna get older. I'm not gonna look the same. My wife, same thing. And when it comes to thick and thin, it means when you're old, when you're young, when you have no money, that means when you're sick. So for them to stick with him, I love it. I love to see it. And hopefully the NFL don't do nothing crazy, because I didn't like the way they did Antonio Brown. They didn't give him no due process. He missed like 14 months without pay, even though we know that he had something mentally with him. That was mental with Antonio Brown, because once he got hit in the head by that linebacker that had a history for doing that, you seen that he wind up having troubles in his personal life and with the team. So Richard Sherman, get well. And I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Same way I'm going to give Drake the benefit of the doubt when it comes to that down.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it was surprising to me to kind of see this news come out about Richard Sherman, because like you said, I mean, he's from the hood. As far as I know, he's from Compton, but for a dude like him to come out of the hood and go to a place like Stanford and graduate, and he was also an executive, I believe, for the NFL Players Association as well. So he's obviously somebody who people trusted to be their spokesperson in situations. So it's unfortunate to kind of see it, but like, to be honest, these things happen though. Like, if there wasn't a camera on that situation, this situation probably wouldn't be as bad. And situations like this happen with in-laws, happen with your, significant others or other family members, brothers, sisters. There's always some kind of family conflict. No family is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that this happened, it was just disappointing that it came out into the news. I think, it came out into the news, and it is going to be a scar on his career, or it's going to tarnish his image, most definitely. But I don't look at him any different. I'm like, you went through a situation, You were just mad and you banged on the door. Okay, so you didn't hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't really commit any crimes. Did really? It's not like you didn't break into the house. And like, if you broke into the house, yeah, that's a charge. If you physically hurt somebody, yeah, that's a charge. If you pulled a weapon on somebody, that's a charge. But I think that's what the judge saw. I think the judge saw like, okay, well, it sounded like, you had some kind of situation, you were hot about a situation, and but nothing really happened. The police came or whatever, they booked you because you probably were disturbing the peace. If there was any charge, that's probably the only charge he was going to get. And given his track record, I think that's why he was kind of let go with no bail or whatnot. The question I pose is, what is the NFL going to do? Because the
And he's
NFL,
a free agent too.
what happened?
He's a free agent too.
Yeah, he's free agent. He's at the end of his career. And let's not discount how great of a player Richard Sherman was. For a good 5 years, he was the best corner in the league. Like, to me, by far. He was a lockdown corner. He was the best corner on one of the best defenses in Seattle for like a good 5 years. And now he tore his Achilles, I believe it was, and people thought his career was over. And then he came back, played for San Francisco, and had a really solid year. It wasn't as good as the previous years, but it was still a solid year. It wasn't like, yo, you need to get out of the league. And now he's a free agent. So now I'm asking, like, what team is going to take a risk on him? Even though to me it's not really a risk, because yeah, you just had some kind of quarrel with your family, whatever. It's not a huge risk to me. It's not like you beat a woman down. It's not like you pulled a firearm out. And I think he should be given another chance by a team. So yeah, why not? Why not? Because what kind of situation are we going through right now? We're going through a situation right now where Xavier Howard wants more money, and it seems like he is willing to go somewhere, and we are willing to trade him. So I think that is going to be probably a win-win situation for us anyway, because we'll end up getting probably maybe 2 second-round picks or something like that, and a player or something like that. I don't know what we'll get, but I'm sure we're gonna get something good back, And Xavier Howard, as we know, is injury prone. So my guess is that he probably might get injured again. So we probably will look back at it if we trade him and say, hey, this was a good deal. But if Richard Sherman wants to come to the MIA, hey, we'll invite you down here, because the taxes are much cheaper than California, bro. The price of living is a lot cheaper, and it's a lot more California was one of the first states, one of the last states, to really become off a lockdown. There's some high school football players that didn't play at all last season in California. But down here, we played. We didn't play a lot, but we played. So, Florida might be the destination of Richard Sherman. So I just want to see how soon is he going to get another chance, and what is the NFL really going to do to him? And are they going to take his position away in the players union because of this situation?
I really think that, there was no harm done. So I don't think that they should even go that route, because again, it's not the NFL that appoint him, it's the players that appoint him,
Right.
So I think that the rest of the players will understand, that, this is what happens. Like, nobody's perfect, like you said. As far as with the Miami Dolphins, like, I wouldn't mind him coming to Miami, and give Iggy, our second year corner, some more guidance, on top of Byron Jones. And we can go ahead and get rid of Xavier Howard. Like I said, I love loyalty, and my loyalty stands with the Miami Dolphins, because I understand you need that money. You want that money because NFL mean not for long, but we stood with you when you went through that domestic violence. We stood with you when you was injured for practically the whole year, and we still paid you that money. So at least give us that benefit of the doubt as well. in regards to being traded, I heard some rumblings about the Cleveland Browns wanting to trade for him. They were saying something about Greedy Williams, the corner, that has he's been injury prone also, but he's young. He has great upside. He was I think he was a first round pick also. I'm not sure how high he was picked,
out of
but
LSU.
exactly. So I think that would be a good move also. But I don't even if we're trading for Greedy Williams, I want a first round pick or a second round pick also. I don't just want a even swap on Greedy Williams. He doesn't have the contract that we gave X-Man. And I really think the X-Man, he's really asking for that contract because he know he's injury prone. He know that it was an anomaly. And yeah, you had 10 interceptions last year, but that was during the COVID year. Like, everybody's team was going through turmoil as far as people not playing because of the COVID protocol or this, that, and the other. So you benefited from that also. So I'm not going to pay you on the year where you wind up doing a little better. Yeah, again, the previous year you had 7 interceptions. Last year you had 10 interceptions. It went up, but I think a few of those was because of everything that everybody was going through. And I'm going to stand with the Miami Dolphins. If you want us to revisit this contract, then do it another year. Do it another year, which is this year. We signed you for 4. We got you for another 4 years, I think, another 4 years. So do it this year. If you could do it again, we revisit it, and you got 3 years left in the contract. We could give you some more signing bonus, this, that, and the other. That's exactly what we did with this contract, and we go from there. But to try to hold us hostage, I'm not in line for that, especially when we were on your side, when everybody would have probably gave up on you. And again, you had the Ray Rice situation. You had other situations, that Antonio Brown situation, when it comes to domestic violence or domestic period. And those teams gave up on them. And we didn't give up on you. So I think that should speak something. I know Marcus is like, yo, get it when you can. And I understand. I feel you, but we gave it to you, when you was not supposed to get that. And that probably was the reason why you wind up not getting the deal that you did get. But we when we did sign you to that deal, we did make you the highest corner. And look, you're not gonna always stay the highest corner, because the market in the NFL always goes up. So you can't always be pocket watching. Be humble for the money that you got, because me and Marcus, we really got to work. We really got to do this thing and the other. And I'm not going to go ahead and just compare us to him, because it's different. But again, you got to remember where you came from, and you didn't have much. You could have right now be out the league like Ray Rice, and
yeah,
we stuck with you. So hey, it is what it is.
I totally agree. I mean, it's not like I don't agree with your stance, Wes, but I also agree with what he's trying to do. And if I were him, I would end it right here. You know what I'm saying? I've already made my point. But at the same time, I'm going to be humble and play the season out. I should play the season out because of what you said. There's plenty of time left on my contract, and if I have an even better season? If I'm an X-Man, I'm like, okay, you don't want to pay me this year, I'm gonna have an even better season this year, and I'm gonna force you to pay me. But at this point, I feel like your point is made. You don't have to keep going with it, because now you just seem like a problem. You know what I'm saying? But you making your point like, hey, I'm the 5th or 6th best paid corner in the league. Last year, most people think I'm 1 or 2. So your point is made. I get it. I understand it. But at the same time, you are crippling the team. And if the team, because I'm still home team over anybody, if the team decides to trade you, then I'm with that. I'm with that all day, because if we can get some value for you right now, because right now your stock is high because you had such a great season last season. And we know you missed like a year and a half due to injury. So to be honest, you're the perfect person to trade, because we're going to get something back. People going to want you. and we'll get some back. We'll get some younger pieces. We'll get more assets because we're still a young team. We're still, developing. We're up and coming team. We're not like if we were like a Super Bowl team, like if we were like in the AFC Championship game last year, then I'll be like, okay, I think we need to keep Xavier Howard because we gonna need him for this season, coming up. But we're not quite there yet. We didn't make the playoffs last year. Let's make the playoffs first. Let's try to win the division first, and then we can start to really think about keeping our pieces. But right now, we're still a rebuilding team. We got a young quarterback. We got young playmakers. We got young running backs. We got relatively a young defense. There's no real veterans on that defense, to be honest. So let's get some more pieces. Let's get some more young pieces. We got a young coach. We got pretty much a young GM who's kind of more innovative in the players that he's trying to get. So yeah, I totally agree on trading him. If it comes to that, like if you're holding out until it's about to be week 1 and you still holding out, come on, like come on. I know it's still relatively early. We're still in July. We didn't even get to August yet. We didn't play one preseason game yet. But like if we get to second preseason game and you're still holding out, then then we need to trade you because now you're becoming a distraction. And
exactly
distraction going into the season.
The crazy thing is, what I was thinking about? I was like, well, that Deshaun Watson is probably not gonna play the whole season. Of course, I'm like, all right, Tua, if you're not good this year, and Xavier Howard, you're being disgruntled. How about at the end of the season, if Tua's don't pan out, we could trade both you guys to the damn Texans
in a package deal. Yeah,
that would be great, But everybody got a dream. That's one of my dreams. Hopefully, it come true.
Keep those prayers. Keep those prayers up. Huh? Keep those prayers up for those teams. But yeah, man. So last thing I had was just Poirier McGregor, just the aftermath of that fight. I mean, the first round of this fight, this was the trilogy of this fight. McGregor won the first and Poirier won the second. So this was the trilogy. All right. So who's going to win round 3? It's just like Street Fighter. Round 3. Let's go. Right. Fight. So they end up fighting, and then fucking McGregor is like throwing kicks, like every other move is like a kick to the body, kick to the face, But then Poirier gets him on the ground and is just dogging him, right? And the first round is pretty much, it's definitely Poirier won it. And it felt like that's how it was going to continue, to be honest. But during the fight, or right when the round ended, his McGregor's ankle was clearly broken. It was nasty. It was like dangling. It was like clearly like a broken ankle. He sat down, and then of course, if you got something like that, they call a fight. You lost. If you can't fight, then you lost. So McGregor ends up losing the fight. Poirier ends up winning. But after the fight is really what I want to talk about here, because McGregor says, one, if I was 100%, I would win that fight. And then he says that he had broken leg before he started this fight. I'm like, come on now. If you had a broken leg going into this fight, would you be kicking somebody every 2 seconds? You're going to try to kick somebody? Come on. Like, if I have a broken leg, if I know this, I have a broken leg, I'm going into a fight. You think I'm going to try to keep kicking you? Nah, I'm going to do everything but kick you. I'm going to try to hit you with these hands, or, maybe try to choke you, but I'm not trying to kick you. He kicked him like, I want to say, a good 7 times. Like, why would you even try to do that? And obviously, if you got a broken leg, that's going to affect other parts of your leg, and then your ankle gets broken. So to me, I think it was just embarrassing for McGregor. This whole thing was embarrassing for him as a fighter. And I lost it. If I had any respect for him, I lost it, because I'm just like, come on, man. Like, first of all, you're getting dogged in the first round. you break your ankle, you talk crap saying, "Oh, if my ankle doesn't break, I would have won." And then you say you had a broken leg before the fight that you knew about? Come on, man. I think this is it for McGregor. I think he's done. I don't think anybody's going to put any respect on his name after this. I mean, before you already was this loudmouth talking, which is okay. I like, smack talk, especially in fighting. I think it kind of comes hand in hand. But people didn't respect you. A lot of people didn't like you. I won't say respect. People didn't like you for talking smack. And then, you get dogged by Khabib and you get dogged by Poirier now twice in a row. Like, come on, man. Like, you need to stop at this point. Like, I think you can fight, but these championship level fights, and Poirier is not even a champion. He's like maybe the fourth or fifth person in his weight class. You cannot be on a big stage, like getting a big ticket like you had with Poirier. I don't see that happening anymore. You can be on these other fights, you'll be an undercard fight, but I think from now on, McGregor is not going to be like this big headliner in UFC, especially the way he just embarrassed himself last Saturday night.
Yeah, I completely agree, but it goes back to what I was saying, when people get the bag, like he got 100 million off the Mayweather fight. Like, why are you still fighting? Like, like it's just like Muhammad Ali. Is like, you seen what continuing fighting got him, and I think once you get that bag, people feel comfortable. People don't train as much. People are, just living a different lifestyle because they didn't have that passion still under them. And I think that's exactly what happened with McGregor. I think that his name speaks for itself. His name is basically what got Poirier that the actual fight. And Poirier is good too. He's like one of the greatest fighters in UFC history as well. But his name doesn't ring like McGregor.
Right.
So I think they only had that trilogy because there was no one else to actually bring that bag like McGregor would have brought. And I lost respect for Mayweather the last fight when he was basically hugging and embracing the guy and saying nothing but good things, and you lost. That's not Mayweather. That's not McGregor for me. It's just like seeing Mayweather do something like that. Like, this is like, that's out of your character. Like, it's like when Mike Tyson fought Lennox Lewis and he was on depressants. He was not the same Mike Tyson. Same thing like McGregor. You're not the same McGregor, not because of drugs or anything like that. Or depressants, was because you got the bag. And that's one of the reasons why I want to give X-Man more money as well. Because once people get that money, that passion that they once had is gone. You already made it. So as far as the fight, for him saying that he actually fractured, well, he said it was fractured before the actual fight, but piggybacking off what you said, like, if I know that my leg is fractured, why would I keep kicking? Yeah, like, it just doesn't make any sense. You said that he was kicking in the torso, kicking in the face, and doing all type of things like that, but Poirier was still winning, especially when he took him to the ground. So
yeah,
I really think that it was just another money grab for McGregor. Again, you have individuals like Silva that once dominated UFC, and he fell also, not because of him just being not that same person. It's because it's Father Time. Father Time is undefeated, and when some people get you at a certain age, like, I expect you to actually lose. So if we're talking about McGregor in his prime, that's a different story. If you're talking about Mike Tyson in his prime, that's a different story. Silva in his prime, different story. MJ in his prime, different story. I'm not gonna go ahead and throw dirt on his name. Again, I'm gonna use what you say, Marcus. If you can get the bag, get the bag. Yeah. Even if your legacy get tainted a little bit. But going back to what I'm saying, like, people gonna be like, no, McGregor in his prime, nobody could beat him. That's what people are going to go ahead and look at. They're not going to look at these last few fights like Silva, like Tyson, and all these other individuals that didn't pan out in the end of their career like that, fighting these younger guys or fighting guys that still didn't get the bag like you got. So for me, it is what it is. I expect I expect people to lose like that to try to give some type of smoke screen to make people have that doubt, like, nah, it's because his leg was broken, you know,
Yeah.
or it was because of this or because of that. Hey, it is what it is. Get the bag. You still got the bag, even though you lost. And I don't think that losing that fight really did too much damage to your legacy, because it's not like he got knocked out. Like, you broke your own ankle,
Yeah.
like you broke it on your own. So, hey, it is what it is. And hopefully you can make a comeback. Hopefully you can make a comeback, but not a comeback in the ring. I would be one of these trainers, like Rampage Jackson and all these other individuals that just train these younger guys and keep it moving like that.
Yeah, yeah. One other UFC thing, or boxing thing I wanted to say is that Jake Paul is gonna fight Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley is like a UFC fighter, but he was great in his time. He's kind of past his prime, you could say, but he's gonna fight one of the Paul brothers. I'm not actually sure which. I think it's Jake Paul, not Logan Paul. But they made a bet saying that whoever loses is gonna get their name tatted on each other. You see
Oh
that?
no.
Yeah, they said whoever loses is gonna get their name tatted on it on that person. I was like, okay, so it's just another fun thing to look forward to. I think that fight's like either in a month or 2 months or something like that. But that's something to look forward to. And
I mean,
I think
I
Tyron
seen
really
something
murdered,
about
but we'll see.
I seen something about them saying that one of the Logan brothers had called out the game and said, "I'll knock you out," or let's
Oh
fight
yeah,
for charity or something like that. I don't know which one it is, but I would
I
love
think
to
it was
see
Jake
that.
Paul. Yeah,
Jake Paul, like, to see him knock out the game, because I remember when I seen the game, he had got into it and beat up somebody. I forgot who it was. They caught it on videotape and stuff like that. For that would be a major blow to the game. He already lost cool points for putting that butterfly on his face, and doing
yeah,
all type of other things. But to lose to him, yo, it would be great for me to see, because I don't really like the game too much. He'd be
yeah,
running his mouth a little bit, so hey, I would
yeah.
love to see that fight too.
Yeah. I would love to see that too. And I didn't really like him as a rapper too much either. I think he was kind of piggyback off of G Unit too, just to get famous. To be
Yeah,
honest. But yeah, that would be the next celebrity type fight that I'd love to see. So Snoop Dogg, let's make that happen. Let's get the game and Jake Paul in the ring. So we got like about 5 minutes left. Anything else?
anything else right now? Not really.
Yeah.
Um,
Hopefully Chris
it's
Paul
been it's
can
been
pull
a
it out.
boring. It's been kind of a boring off season, because the playoffs is not. It doesn't draw too much. The Mayweather fight. Yeah, we watched it, but it was not the greatest fight in the world. So can't really say too much. Hopefully, this finals is done and we could talk about nothing but football and move on from there. Anything from college football on your stance?
Not really, man. They are having ACC Media Days coming up soon. They're going to be sending Bubba Bolden, Mike Harley, and Derek King as the representatives for the Hurricanes. That's in Charlotte. And so that's kind of like the first inkling of that football season going to start. So I'm excited for football season, and people are starting to think that there's a little buzz about the Hurricanes actually beating Alabama, which hey, that's, to me, this sounds very far-fetched. But if you look at it, if there's any year that the Canes could beat Alabama, this is the year. Because you got a returning quarterback that's legitimate, although he's coming back from an ACL injury. So, got to factor that in. You got basically three running backs coming back. You got a good receiver transferred over from Oklahoma. And then you got Tyreek Stevenson. I think Tyreek Stevenson, I just want to let you know, he was one of the most covered players out of all players in South Florida. Most of us reporters in South Florida watching Tyreek Stevenson play was like, he's the best player in South Florida, bar none, when he played. And he was always juggling Georgia and Miami the whole time. Georgia, Miami, Georgia, Miami. So he ends up going to Georgia, and it didn't work out in Georgia for whatever reasons. And now he transferred back to Miami. I think that is really the addition that's really under the radar, because what was our worst, to me, we talked about this almost every week. What was kind of the worst play from last season? Cornerback, bro. Cornerback. Like we were always, every week we were talking about how Al Blaze Jr. and DJ Ivy were like getting burnt, So Tyreek Stevenson is like, they're down here, and Tyreek Stevenson went. And when I saw those three players play in high school, Tyreek Stevenson was up here and they were down here. Okay. So I think that's an addition that is kind of under the radar. And then the safety, who was a 5-star last year, who was hurt last year, he got hurt before the season, Avante Williams, I think is going to be really good. You couple him with Bubba Bolden, you got two probably the best safeties in the conference. Then you got Tyreek Stevenson. You just hope somebody on that other side plays well. And the linebackers are a work in progress. We always know that. But everything else is legit, bro. The kicker, the great kicker that we had, his little brother, I talked to him during Paradise Camp, and he was like, yeah, I'm already hitting 55 yarders. You know what I'm saying? My legs are getting stronger. He got a tattoo of the U on his leg that he showed me. So you already know he's dedicated 100%. So there's no reason why they can't be competitive in that game, because Alabama's got what? New quarterback coming. They got relatively new receivers that are going to be out there. You got a brand new tight end that they're going to have. So Alabama is going to be basically a new team, a rebuilding team. And if you watch Alabama's team through the years, like after their championship and they lose a bunch of players, that next year they usually lose 2 games, and they're not in the playoff picture. So I think this is one of those years for Alabama. It's one of those rebuilding years. Yeah, they got 5 stars all over the place, but they're still young and they don't have that game experience. And that's what Miami has. Miami has a bunch of their offensive line, I've been saying, is going to be the best that they've had in 15 years. You know what I'm saying? As far as depth is concerned.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to win.
I'm not
saying they're going to win, but I'm saying they got a chance. There's a chance.
As long as we look good, that's all we need is just to look good. Look like we're not they're A+, university, and we're like a D-. As long as we look like we can hang, then that could change the recruiting. And right, like what you're saying, like we have all these individuals. We got one of the deepest safety cores in the nation. You got the O-line coming back, and like you said, is one of the best in the last 15 years because everybody's came back. The running backs, we got 3 of them that came back. Derek King came back. So for me, all you need to do is just look good. And if we look good, then that will help the recruiting. Most individuals will be like, look, Miami's already on the rise. We already have them being the first individuals to pay their players like that, or come out to pay their players. We have more things to actually offer. We already have 2 years of a better recruiting class with 5-star staying here in South Florida. So it don't matter if we win or if we lose. It's just like, if we lose, we just got to lose looking good. Of course, Alabama got all those 5-star players. It would be precedence for the University of Miami to go ahead and beat Nick Saban with all those 5-star players. People be like, why go to Alabama and deal with that grump in Nick Saban compared to staying in Miami and dealing with a better coaching staff that's more player friendly, and we have the alumni that always come back and show love. So for me, it's a no-brainer. I really do think that this game is going to be a good game. Hopefully, Miami don't wind up falling behind bad, because again, when we played Florida, we looked good, and when we played LSU that first game, we did look good. Also, we just lost in the end.
Nah,
So
bad, bro. Come on.
Oh yeah. We did.
LSU look terrible.
LSU whooped our ass, man. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
They look bad, man. That was a sad day.
They won the championship that year. So, going back to what I was saying, if we lose to the champions, it really doesn't mean anything for me. It kind of washes away all of the sins. but again, I think that's all I have for college football right now.
Yeah. I think that's a wrap for us here on the MarcWes Sports Podcast. We'll see you next time on the next episode. Peace.